This is the only side of leather I could find in this color. This is kind of a Green Bay Packers themed tote bag. So I needed to have a green that was at least as close as I could get to a Green Bay Packer green. And I had yellow here already, so I'm pretty good with the yellow. Um, but the green I didn't have, and this was as close as I could find. This is from Acadia Leather. It's one of their low grade sides. It was the only thing I could find in this color. So I'm gonna have to work with it. And that's all that I can do for the time being. The bottom inch or so is gonna, 2 inches or so is gonna be covered. So I'm gonna go ahead and kind of move down a little bit, and there's just a few where it was maybe creased or something, and it's not a perfect hide, which is what makes it low grade. There's some bites and stuff in it and some other imperfections, which are things that we'd come to expect every now and again in a hide. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my pen, which I think will show up okay on here. Yeah, I'll be able to see it well enough. And I'm going to go ahead and draw on here, grab my weight, just so things don't move on me. Now these lines will never be seen. Hopefully I'll get them all cut off, so that won't be an issue. Even if they don't, everything's going to be, it's going to be a turned bag, kind of like the Tootsie Tote was. This one is just going to be different dimensions. It won't be as tall, and it won't be tapered. Because remember, the Tootsie Tote was wider at the top than it was at the bottom. But this customer works with my wife and saw the Tootsie Tote and liked it, and wanted me to do one the size of this with these dimensions. So that'll be one. And I'll do a bite here or something, or it's dark spot. Kind of hate to work around that big of a spot, but I'll actually go ahead and take that dark spot and put that in my little overlap. Hopefully the sound is coming through okay. I am using my GoPro Hero 7 white. And had I known ahead of time that the white would not accept an external microphone, I would not have gotten the white. And there we go. So along here somewhere, I'm going to have to leave a nice straight edge so I can cut a couple of straps off it. And that's just because I like to have a little bit of strap material. So I'm going to go ahead and I have a 4 foot long 1x that I will set under it. And then I could cut, I'll make this cut so I can get a strap or two out of there, 1 inch wide strap or two. I got a feeling I'm going to have to trim this base down just a little bit. It's tough to say with how everything's going to work out. But I need to skive these. I don't need to skive the top edge. This is a bit thicker leather. I don't know exactly how thick it is. I suppose I could get my... I got a leather video coming up one of these days. That's I'm going to explain a little bit about leather and thicknesses and all that good stuff. How they come up with some of that. I want to say this is 3 millimeters. And the yellow is probably 2.5. So the yellow is a little thinner, which I know that. I knew that going into this. I want to say this is a 5 to 6. 5.5 to 6 ounce. Can't remember. Got to look at the orders. And this is a little lighter. I was hoping to find this in a comparable leather in a 4 to 5 ounce, which is what this is. And I wanted to find this in that. I think this is on the heavier side of that. But it is what it is. Managed to get her pretty good. I got that little spot down here. It's not going to be a big deal because it's going to have that strip. On this part of the pattern, where did I put my pattern? Oh, I set it somewhere. Is this it? Part of it. So on the back side, I did mark center on the pattern. And I know this isn't exactly the pattern that I had, so I don't know what I did with it. I remade the pattern because I had more marks and such on it. But the main thing I needed marked was center. And I think that's all I need for now. And center on the bottom. So while I'm looking here, I'm deciding on where my bottom is going to be. And I think this is going to be the bottom of this piece. So I'll mark my center down there. Which, after I skive it, I'll have to move my center mark. But that will be a piece of cake. And I'll show you how I do that too. So, this one just folds in the center. And I have a mark center to center. So we'll just lay our pattern on here. Slide it away a little bit. Mark our center here. Slide it over the other way, center it. And mark our center here. Center it side to side. Mark our center here. And our center here. And there is all that. Now that I have those marked, let me go grab my little square, because that's what I'm going to use to transfer these marks farther up. And I'll show you that in a sec. This is a machinist square, and I have checked this against every square I own, and it's more square than any of the squares I own. So the only problem is it's a little thicker here than what I like, but I've had this for a long time. I'm going to use this to square up my mark. So I'm hanging my leather off the edge of the other piece here just to keep that consistency there. And I know I'm going to put a mark at 3/8 of an inch. So I want to go mark a center way beyond that. And do another one. So now all my marks are farther up, so when I mark my 3/8 of an inch that I'm going to skive, we're in pretty good shape. This one I marked far enough up, so I'm not going to worry about that one. This one I'll have to transfer. So if you get the opportunity to get one, I don't think this was too expensive. It's like 25 bucks. It's a little more than a regular square because it is a machinist square and it is truly square. So they are a little more expensive. This is not any fancy one by any means. It's not a Starrett or anything like that, but I picked it up on Amazon and verified that it was square. About all you can ask for out of one. If I could get onto a milling machine, I'd mill these a little thinner so it worked better for my purposes. But it's normally on my gun bench where I do most of my metal working and stuff. And I keep a light film of oil on it. But it works good over here too. So I am now going to, well, we're not cutting anything else, so let's get the cutting board out of the way. So I'm going to make this measurement. I'm going to measure the bottom. I'm going to have draw a line at 3/8, and I'm going to do a strong 3/8. And when I'm referring to strong, those are not familiar with construction or that type of measuring. You'll hear that kind of terminology. I may do just a video that's just dedicated to some of the different methods of measuring to make your patterns and make your cuts and all that kind of stuff. But when you're going to your line, it refers to which side of the line that you're measuring to. So let's say I'm measuring to 5 inches. Is that 5 right there? So if I'm measuring 5 inches, the line represents 5 inches. So if I'm going strong, 5 inches strong, I'm measuring to the far side of the line. If I'm going 5 inches light, I'm measuring to this side of the line. Does that make sense? So I'm using the line as a little bit extra, or a little bit short. And that's kind of, it's just a way, I learned that when I was doing roofing many moons ago. And I've just kind of kept that with me all these years. So I'm doing a strong 3/8, meaning I'm measuring to the far side of the 3/8 of an inch line. I'm not measuring an exact 3/8. And what that's doing is it's accounting for the thickness of the line. basically. I bored one summer when I was a kid. Or I guess it was spring. I had pneumonia. I didn't have anything to read. My mom was sick too. And my brother was just a little baby. I got better first, so I had to take care of my brother too. And yeah. Everybody pitched in taking care of my little brother. And that's just kind of how it went. I read the dictionary one at that point because it was something to do when I was sick. I've got kind of a funny cut here, but it's not going to matter when I skive it, because what this is doing is it's giving me my 3/8 of an inch around this corner. And it's just barely dark enough to see, but I can kind of fill it in with the pen. Leaves me just a deep enough groove to get in there with the pen and fill it in. I don't exactly know where my strap is, but I just sharpened these, both of these, and so I shouldn't need to strap it right now. It's just sharpened, so I'm going to go ahead and start skiving. There's a lot of different ways, and everybody has their own thing. I kind of will go like this, hold it at just a slight angle, and I'll just go right off the edge. And I just take my time. And once you get the hang of this, it's not that bad really. And when I start getting towards the very edge, I lay my finger on top. I'm not in front of my blade. I'm on top of my work here, because once the blade comes through, it cuts through the edge of the leather, and you get a nice clean edge then. It doesn't get all fuzzy and stuff. But that's how I do that. And like I said, you get used to doing it, and it doesn't take too terribly long. But I've done this a lot. So I'm here to tell you, it takes a lot of practice. It takes a lot of patience. And when you got a long stretch like this, because believe it or not, this is a pretty long stretch. I don't remember what this is, 15 inches or so. But you just take your time. When you get to the end is when you got to really be careful, because it's really easy to dig in. And I'm just, stop right there. I'm just letting, everything is just kind of riding right on the leather. I'm keeping a little downward pressure right in the middle of the blade, and everything is just kind of riding on the top of the leather. With this particular leather, it works out pretty well. I skived a lot of this when I did the Tootsie Tote, so I kind of got used to it. Some people like to do shorter runs. I find for me this works out okay. For some people, they just, they're not comfortable doing a longer run. means do what you're comfortable with. And use a method that you're comfortable with. Some people aren't comfortable with this. I spent a lot of time working on this blade to get the edge the way that I like it and the way that works best for me. By no means is it perfect. I nicked it a little here where I got outside, right there. But that's okay, because nobody's ever going to see that. For some people, this is the tool to use, and I do okay with this too. But I use this on different leathers. On this particular leather, it has an oily quality to it. It's a fantastic leather for this kind of a project. And this worked good for me. So this is what I'm going to use. Just like that. Now to go around the edge, or to go around the corner, I'm just going to try to do the same thing, but I'm going to try to run a curve around that. That didn't quite work the way I wanted it to. I'll just take it in pieces. That's working better.